What?
What?
What the hell is this?
Harumph. I didn't get a harumph out of that guy.
Give the governor harumph.
Harumph!
You watch your ass.
I see you shiver with anticipation.
Let the show begin.
Hey everybody, this is David Heretic coming at you with another edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. And tonight, alright, we're coming back to Porcupine Tree. Yes, indeed. Porcupine Tree fans, feeling you. Come on now. Here we go. Before we go any further, for those of you who are feeling inclined to doing all the clicks and the likes and the bibbity-bibbity-bop, do me a favor, before you do all that stuff, please watch the whole video first, okay? Give me a chance to actually earn those clicks and likes. Now, after the video's done, if you still feel like doing all those clicks and likes, well then by all means, feel free to click away. This comes as a request from John Woodbury, and John wanted to see me react to this song by Porcupine Tree called Arriving Somewhere But Not Here.
That's impossible.
Now, have I heard the song before? No, I have not. To the best of my knowledge, this does not resonate with me in any way, shape, or form. However, there's always a possibility I may have heard the song in passing and I just don't realize it. So as always, if I start listening to the song and I suddenly go, wait a second, I recognize this song, I'll let you know.
That's the truth.
You know me, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Let's see, this was posted by Ladonis, okay? And the video has 4.9 million views. It'll get you there. Other than that, there's really nothing else left to say. Link to the original video will be down below in the video description for your viewing pleasure at your leisure. Let's get started. What do you say? Are you ready? Are you ready? Because here we go. All right, here we go. Porcupine Tree, Arriving Somewhere But Not Here, live. I haven't looked at the time yet. I haven't looked at how long the video is. I'm going to guess, knowing Porcupine Tree, I'm going to guess somewhere between 10 to 12 minutes. That would be my guess. Let's see if I'm right. That was pretty close. 12:54.
Dude, I don't get it. I don't get it either.
You guys know how I feel about long songs. I've said it many, many times before on the channel. Look, it's basically 13 minutes. Now listen, if I'm engaged, if it keeps me vested, if it's interesting, if it's fun, if it's impressive, if it's challenging, then it has nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about at all. On the flip side, if it's boring, if it's repetitious, if it's ill-conceived, poorly constructed, then, yeah, I'm going to tear it to shreds. I'm going to make no bones about it either. I guess we'll just wait and see what happens here. All right, let's do this.
All right, boy, let's do this.
trust the sound of rain upon a river rushing through your ears. Arriving somewhere, but not here. Did you imagine the final sound is a gun? Or the smashing windscreen of a car? Did you ever imagine the last thing you'd hear as you fading out was a song? Arriving somewhere, but not here. All my designs.
Look, the song sounds well conceived. It sounds like it's well designed. The notation all makes sense. Chordal structures all make sense. Chordal progression makes sense. I mean, there isn't really much of a progression. It's literally 1 down to the 6, 1 down to the 6, 1 down to the 6. That's really the only progression. We're just moving between those two chords. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna say it. I'm bored as hell. I am absolutely bored. Very repetitious. I like the staggered entrances. Those are nice. I like the fact that they've brought people in spaced out. So that way not everybody's coming in at the exact same time. It adds some variance, and that's pretty much the only reason I haven't dozed off yet is because of those staggered entrances. Everything else is just a snooze fest. I am not digging this. I'm not digging this, and I got another 9 minutes of this to go. Good Lord. Anyway, let's keep going.
All my designs simplified. It's all of my plans compromised. It's all of my dreams sacrificed.
Okay, we're getting some light. Okay. Okay. Now we're going somewhere. I like what I'm hearing here. Got some energy, not a lot, but it's got enough. It's got some drive. Again, not a lot, but enough. It's moving somewhere. The chordal progression has gotten a lot more interesting. The tempo, of course, picked up a tad. Everybody has become far more active. And the song has become a lot more interesting. It's just such a shame that we had to spend over 3 minutes. Over 3 minutes, almost 4 minutes to get to this point. They could have taken that entire intro, cut it in at least half, if not a quarter, and I think it would have been far, far better. That intro was just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Completely unnecessary. And just a gigantic, I'm going to say this, and I hope there's no kids watching. It was really just a gigantic ball wash fest for the keyboard player. Let's be honest here. Completely unnecessary. Luckily, we've kicked in. Luckily, the energy's come up. This has become a far more interesting, far more engaging, far more attention-getting song. This, I believe it or not, I'm doing okay with this. I'm not loving it, but I'm doing okay with this. I'm all right with this. Like I said, it's just a shame we had to spend almost 4 minutes to get to this point.
All my designs simplified. It's all of my plans compromised. It's all of my dreams.
Switching it up again. Good. Good palm muting. wondering if they were going to come back down again. It makes sense. It does. Look, am I thrilled that they came back down? No, but at the same time, it was kind of necessary. It's kind of needed. Because we've been going along at that upbeat pace, that fast pace, that double time feel. We've been going along there for like, what, 2 minutes? 3 minutes? About 3 minutes. Okay. So we've been going along at this double time feel for about 3 minutes. Now, those 3 minutes, far more engaging. A lot more movement happening within the instruments. The unison lines, the bass player movement, the trade-off between the guitars, what they were doing. One focusing more on the palm muting, just, simple, just easy, straight ahead, singing a note, palm muting. And then in comes the other guitar player with more of a legato style, moving chords. And it's far more interesting. That last 3 minutes, I'm going to be honest with you, those last 3 minutes flew by. Flew by. A lot more fun to listen to. A lot more engaging. A lot more interesting. A lot more happening. So yeah, the time flew on those 3 minutes. Absolutely it did. But even towards the end of the 3 minutes, if I'm being honest, about 10 seconds ago, I started thinking to myself, okay, we've been doing this for a while now. It's time to switch it up. And they did. They did exactly what I was thinking they needed to do. They went back. They brought it down again. Look, you know the old saying, careful what you wish for, right? Well, I was wishing for it, and they did it. Necessary? Yes, absolutely it's necessary to help revitalize the song again. So, I just wish there was another way they could have done it. But I mean, the way they did it makes sense. It makes perfect sense. So, it's fine. It's fine. All right, let's keep going here. This is a weird one. This is a weird one. I was all over the place with this. I covered a gamut of feelings on this. Just an absolute gamut. God, how am I going to score this? I got like 5 or 6 different scores that are running through my head, and they're ranging. They are seriously ranging everywhere from 3s to 8s. Oof. I don't know how this is gonna go. I really don't. Okay. Let me get my thoughts together. I'm really gonna need some time on this. So let me get my thoughts together, and I'll see you in the review, and we'll talk about it. Well, there you go, folks. That was Porcupine Tree with Arriving Somewhere, but Not Here. This was a request from John Woodbury. This was a wild ride, man. This was a weird one. I was fascinated by how many different emotions I covered during the course of those almost 13 minutes. I went from annoyed to legit upset, like angry, upset, to relief, I guess is the best way to put it. Relief to curiosity to enjoyment to elation to disappointment, but accepting of that disappointment for the greater good, back to enjoyment, back to relief. Man, I covered I covered everything. I really did. The only thing I wasn't, I just no despair. No one had no sadness. I didn't get any of that. But everything else covered, absolutely covered. This was a ride. This was definitely a ride. I give the score. Yeah, let's give the score. All right, on a scale of 1 to 10. Now I did not come to this score easily. Like I said, I had like 5 or 6 different scores running through my head, and they were everywhere. They were all over the place. I was down in the 3s, and I was up in the 8s. I mean, and all points in between for various reasons. And when I really thought about it and I took everything into account, this is the score I came up with. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give that, believe it or not, I'm going to give that an 8.1. Yep, 8.1. I feel good about that score. Let me tell you why.
Why?
I'm just going to knock this out of the park. The live show had absolutely no bearing on this at all. It didn't help the score, but it didn't hurt the score either. I saw some things happening on stage that I liked. I saw some things that weren't happening on stage that I wasn't a big fan of, but at the end of the day, it all kind of canceled each other out. So the live show is just, it's not a factor whatsoever on this, okay? So let me put everybody's mind at ease about that. Now, this score is based completely on what I heard, completely. That intro. Oh my God. Not even a quarter, a third of the song was the intro. Totally and completely unnecessary. They could have cut that easily in half. Easily. Personally, I think they could have cut that into a quarter. They could have done just like a minute, and it would have had pretty much the same effect from a musicality standpoint. They just would have had to do everything, in 25%. instead of waiting 64 measures for the drummer to come in with the hi-hat, he would have only had to wait 16. Before the other guitar player came in, he wouldn't have had to wait 64 measures. He would have just had to wait 16. You know, I just don't understand that big, long, elongated intro that was just basically a giant stroke fest for the keyboard player. I'm sorry. I know people are going to hate me for saying that, but guys, I'm going to say what's on my mind. And what's on my mind is that 4-minute intro was a disaster, in my opinion. I mean, I get it. And the staggered entrances were nice. I do, but I just, God. Anyway. Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you folks, but by the time we got almost to that 4-minute mark and I hit my first pause, I was thinking 3s. At best, 3s, maybe 2s. But at that point in time, I had about 3.6, 3.7 in my head. Then the drums came in fully, and we established a groove. And there was some drive in that groove, and there was some energy in that groove. The bass player started getting a little more active. Guitar started becoming a little more of a factor than just ambient noise. The vocals kicked in better with some harmonies and some power. It was nice. I was like, okay. We're coming out of the 3s, passing the 4s, we're into the 5s now. Okay, we're into the 5s. And even from the 5s, we even got into the low 6s. I was like, okay, I'm all right with this. This is pretty good. I'm good with this. I'm grooving along. I can feel myself grooving along. It's nice. It's good. Okay. And then they went into that full-blown, like, rock double-time feel. And I became elated. I was like, wow, where did this come from? Okay. Yes. 7s. Yes. 8s. Yes. 8.7. 8.8. We're coming up on 9. And then it dropped back down again. I was like, no! Which is funny because about 10 seconds before it happened, I thought to myself, okay, don't get me wrong, I've really enjoyed this double time feel. It'd be really nice though if we try to switch things up a little bit. Let's bring it back down to where it was with that kind of laid back, straight ahead feel. That'd be really cool. And we went right by that, down back into where we were with the intro. And I was like, oh. Listen, they did exactly what I was hoping that they were going to do. They did switch things up. They just switched things up and went past the point where I wanted them to go. You know what they say? Be careful what you wish for. Well, I got it all right. Now, the good news is they didn't stay there for very long. Just long enough for the guitar player to have some fun. And then they brought it back up again and gave the other guitar player a chance to have some fun. And then we ended out just like the intro. Finish how they start. Makes sense. That does make sense. Overall, even with that ridiculously long intro, this was a great song. It was. It took me for a ride. It absolutely did. Like I said, I already described to you all the different emotional peaks and points that I hit. So that was definitely a ride, and for the most part, an enjoyable one. There were parts where the time flew by, and there were also parts where the time just seemed to drag on forever. 12, almost 13 minutes. Yeah, that feels accurate. It does feel accurate. But there were times, like I said, where we were flying and like that 3-minute section went by. Man, that didn't feel like 3 minutes. That felt like 1.5 to 2 minutes tops. Time just flew on that section. And then there were other sections, like the intro. Good Lord. Hitting almost the 4-minute mark, but I swear it felt like 6. It felt like 6 or 7. It just went on forever. Anyway, even with that ridiculous intro, I'm still giving this an 8.1. The instrumentation was fantastic. Everybody on that stage is clearly a very knowledgeable and talented musician, and everybody knows how to play their instruments. Gotta give a special shout out to the bass player. Man, he had some really nice, tasty moves in there, man. He has some nice licks. Some great movement on the neck to create those counter melodic lines. Really, really nice. I think one of the highlights for me was the unison lines where the two guitar players and the bass player were moving in unison. They were all syncopated and them all moving along at the same time, same note, same time. That was nice. That was really nice. The unison playing was very, very tight and very, very clean. Vocally, surprisingly, I actually liked the vocals. Even in the intro, I wasn't necessarily the biggest fan of what he was doing, but what he was doing was conducive to what was happening within the intro. So it makes sense. Not necessarily the biggest fan of it personally, but from a professional standpoint, I mean, if he had done anything more than what he did, it would have stuck out. So no, it was fine what he did. I loved the harmony work between the lead vocalist and the other guitar player. The harmonies that they were coming up with were really nice and not overly used, very sparingly used actually. The drumming was tight. Love what the drummer was doing. Everything he did was appropriate to where we were within the song. I'm gonna be honest with you folks, if that 4-minute intro didn't happen, we'd be up in the high 8s. If I'm being honest, we'd be up 8.7, 8.8, somewhere in there. But that intro just absolutely killed me, man. It did. Still giving it an 8.1 though. It's still getting a great score overall. So I feel good with that 8.1, and that's where we're gonna stay. So 8.1, final score, I have spoken. Well, that's gonna do it for this edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. Hope you all enjoyed the show. Hopefully I was able to entertain you. If I was able to put a smile on your face and brighten your day, I did my job, and I'm so glad I could do it. If you guys feel like joining the fan base, go ahead and click on that button down there. If you guys want to like the video, go ahead and like the video. If you guys want to ring the bell, go ahead and ring the bell. It honestly doesn't make any difference at all to me, but if you guys feel like doing these things, well then by all means, feel free to do so. Well, that's going to do it for the night, folks. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, this is David Heretic signing off, reminding you to stay fabulous and support each other. Later. Peace.